having a look at how to like make that sound that I just did, and it's basically like a virtual model of the analog synth world, and that's like the whole point of this keyboard. As you can tell, it's a variable architecture synthesis technology. So it's like Kurzweil has taken all the principles of various like analog synthesizers, like an Oberheim or like a Moog or whatever, and you can have any of those signal parts in here. So that's what we're having a look at. So here we have, so this is like a basic patch. So we have a kind of wobble effect with like an LFO, and you can control the way I have set it up, you can control the rate of the LFO using this slider. So that's like no wobble, and as you turn it up, so the harder you play, the more obvious that effect becomes. So we don't have any of that. As I turn it up, it's kind of there, but if you play really hard, it really comes out. And the other sliders are working like in tandem with that. So slider number 1 is going to be a filter cutoff, which is pretty standard for like a synthesizer. So here we go. And slider number 2 is going to be resonance. So it's completely assignable. So if I go into edit mode here, and I don't know if you can see it on the screen, we go into DSP modulation, which is where we can like set up all of these controllers. So I just go into LP frequency right there. So you can, as you can see, it says slider 1 right there, and I can change it to basically anything. So I press the enter button here, I move slider 6, and now 6 is going to be doing that exact thing. So, and the good thing about this keyboard is you have so many controllers here, and it's like completely assignable. You've got knobs, so I can again press the enter button, move knob 1, and now so the whole point of this is you have all of these physical controllers. They're completely assignable. So it's like user settings. So the way I had this patch, I started off with like a completely blank program. So it's like a pure waveform oscillator. So exactly. So if I had to show you like how to do that, so right now we have a silent program. So I press the edit button. We don't have a key map for now, so there's no audio source. So I go to the algorithm page. I can select whichever one I want. So let's say 6. So it goes from the pitch block, which is the key map. So since we don't have that, we're going to start off with block 1. So I can select a sine wave, a high pass filter, or a saw wave. Saw wave is obviously like a person's favorite because, come on, it's analog synthesis, man, come on. And I can select like a user envelope for that. So, and that's like an envelope for the output amp. So I go back to the algorithm page, and I can like select another block here, and get like you have all of these different types of filters and shapers and, you know, like ways to modulate your waveform. So if I select a 2-pole low pass filter, you're gonna have a filter cutoff frequency and a resonance value right here. So I can either have it as like a static value, or I can go to the modulation page, go to the modulation source, and then so we're back to the thing that I was showing you. So, and then you select your depth value. So if you really want to expand the range of that slider, you can turn the cutoff frequency down. There you go. Yep. And that's the amazing thing about this. So if you had to like set up like for example the wobble effect that I had, that was with like a basic LFO, just the way you would on like any other synthesizer. So I mean, and it's really simple to do. So I'll leave it at that. I'll go to, you can have 2 sources for each of these modulation parameters. So if I go to source 2, I'm going to select LFO. Let's go with LFO number 1 here. And I can go to the LFO plus page, which is going to be the basic settings for all of this. And then I can select my minimum rate. Let's go with something like 15. I'm going to have rate control to like control how fast the LFO is going to be moving. So if I have that on slider 2, I can select the shape I want. And you have all of these different shapes that's like, it really lets you customize every single aspect of the sound. if I have a sine shape, I can go back to the DSP mod page and like select how much of the modulation I really want to hear. So let's try turning it up. I can change the rate that I want, and it really comes in. And since I have slider 2 assigned to that value, it's like real-time controls. And the thing is, you have all of these sliders, so I mean, every single aspect of the modulation page and the blocks that you have. You can use pedals as well, so continuous control, sustain pedal, I mean, and it's all assignable. So the sustain pedal doesn't really have to be a sustain pedal, it could be anything. Yeah, a swell, or even if you want, I mean, something that I like to do is use the sustain pedal for like pitch modulation, which is kind of like a crazy thing, but let me just show it to you, it's easier. So I'll just press the enter button, press the sustain pedal. That's like the basic control for like selecting any of your physical controllers. And let me turn up the depth. Ah, wait, my bad. I'm going to saw pitch and then doing that. Turning up the depth. So the pitch value is usually for the key map. So since I don't have a key map here, I'm going to be working with the saw pitch one. So that's all the sustain pedal. So if you have like multiple layers, you can have like one of the layers without the pitch modulation, and then the other layer could be working only when you press the sustain pedal. So it like jumps up an octave or whatever. That's not an octave, but you know what I mean. So I could basically just like duplicate that layer, and exactly. And if I turn off the sustain pedal thing that I was showing you, see what I mean? Yeah, and I mean, that's just like 2 layers. So you can have like 32 of these layers at once within a single program. And if you go to multis, you can have 16 programs. So, I mean, do the math, 32 times 16. I don't know, man, I'm not a math guy. But, so that's like what it's all about. And again, both with programs and multis, all of these controllers are still gonna work, and they're completely customizable. So when you combine all of that, see what I mean? So the way that I had the patch that I was playing with earlier set up, I've got one layer here doing a saw pitch. I duplicated the layer to have a sine wave playing with it, so you have like a kind of like a pad kind of effect. Let me solo that real quick. With all that reverb, it's just like holding down like the foundation of it. Exactly. So if I take out the solo option, and I've got this sine layer and the saw layer set up in a way that the range is going to be till, I think, right there, and after that is my lead sound. But that's not being made by a waveform oscillator. That's a key map, so it's like an audio source. And the way I have that one set up is it only plays in the upper half. Again, that's all within the same program. You could still like do like custom ranges as a part of the multi. So basically, you could have, I mean, sometimes you'll find yourself like, if you just want like one sound playing on this key, you could do that. And it only comes in there and nowhere else. So it's all about like customization, that's my point. So as a part of this sound, I also have like some effects going on. So just some basic stuff. I mean, it's like an aux send with like a reverb on the pad sound. The way I have it set up is slider number 9 is going to control how much of the aux send is going to be you're going to be hearing. So you simply go there to the mod box on the screen, press enter, move any slider you want. That's going to be your reverb, like dry wet control. So if I had it on slider 9, if I have it on slider 7. Still works. I could have it on a knob. Still works. I could also have it on like the mod wheel or something. So it's all of these, using all of these controllers together to like make the kind of modulations you want. So you have two aux sends, and then you have a bunch of inserts. So you press the edit button any box you want, and I mean you can like edit the insert chain. I mean, exactly. What DAW do you use, by the way? What DAW do you use? You don't? Yeah, I mean, so it's like the insert chain in like any DAW that you use. That's from a while back, man. But my point is, I mean, any DAW that you use, the whole point of using a DAW is that you get like so much of like CPU usage or whatever. Yeah, and this exactly. And this one like comes pretty close in terms of like how many inserts and stuff you can have. So if you look at some of these inserts, it's crazy, man. You get like a preview of it right under the insert box, and yep. So that's the whole point of this. For example, this one's got like 4. What's the weight of the keyboard? I'm not exactly sure about that. I would say like, yeah, like 20 pounds, something like that. I don't know. I would have to like ask someone about that, but I don't know the specs, man. I'm just a player, but
it'll be great for,
absolutely. So the good thing about this is this model, which is like brand new. This is like the first 61 key that Kurzweil's made in like a while. So this one also comes in like an 88 key one, but most of them, like most of the previous models, are 88. So the whole point is it's portable. It works in like a studio setup. It works in like a live setup, and with all of these controllers and stuff, you can like keep going. That's the whole point of it.